iPhone for decades. This has been the image most people associate with Apple making money. A new phone launches, lines form outside stores, and billions of dollars flow in within days. The iPhone alone has generated more revenue than most countries produce in a year. But what makes it so powerful financially is not just the volume of units sold. Apple charges premium prices that competitors rarely match, and customers pay them willingly year after year. The average selling price of an iPhone sits well above any Android rival. Even when growth slows in certain markets, the iPhone remains the foundation everything else is built on. Mac Computers Apple has been selling personal computers since 1976, and despite losing the market share war to Windows decades ago, the Mac business never stopped being profitable. The shift to Apple Silicon, starting with the M1 chip in 2020, changed the equation dramatically. Apple now designs its own processors, which means it no longer pays Intel and controls performance, power efficiency, and production costs far more tightly. MacBooks in particular have seen a resurgence in demand, especially among creative professionals and students. The margins are strong because the hardware and software are designed together, reducing the need for the compromises that plague other PC makers. iPad. The tablet market is one Apple essentially created when the original iPad launched in 2010. Competitors have tried and largely failed to match it in terms of sustained consumer adoption. The iPad generates billions annually, selling into schools, hospitals, businesses, and homes. Apple has expanded the lineup over the years, from the budget standard model to the high-powered iPad Pro, which means it can capture spending across a wide range of customers without cannibalizing one product with another. Wearables. This category quietly became one of Apple's most important revenue streams. It includes AirPods, Apple Watch, Beats headphones, HomePod, and various accessories like cases and cables. AirPods alone, had they been a standalone company, would rank among the most valuable consumer electronics businesses in the world. Apple Watch dominates the smartwatch market by a wide margin. What makes this segment particularly interesting is how these products function as extensions of the iPhone. They deepen the user's connection to the Apple ecosystem, making it harder to consider switching to a different platform. Services. This is where Apple's financial story has shifted most dramatically in recent years. Services encompasses the App Store, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, iCloud storage, Apple Arcade, Apple Pay, Apple Card, and licensing deals. The App Store alone processes hundreds of billions of dollars in transactions annually, and Apple takes a cut, typically 15 to 30% every one of them. That model requires no manufacturing, no shipping, and no physical inventory. The margins on services are significantly higher than on hardware. Apple has made no secret of its intention to grow this segment, and it has. App Store licensing. Beyond what developers pay to sell apps, Apple earns a quiet but enormous sum from a single deal with Google. For years, Google has paid Apple billions of dollars annually to remain the default search engine in Safari. Estimates have placed this figure as high as $18 to $20 billion in a single year. Apple does not advertise this arrangement, and it requires no product development, no customer service, and no infrastructure beyond maintaining an existing browser setting. It is, in essence, rent collected for owning the most valuable real estate in mobile browsing. Legal scrutiny has increased around this deal, and its future is uncertain. But for now, it represents one of the most efficient revenue streams in corporate history. Apple Pay. Apple entered financial services carefully, but it has built a growing presence there. Apple Pay allows users to make purchases using their devices, and Apple earns a small fraction of each transaction processed through the system. At the scale Apple operates, with hundreds of millions of active devices, even a fraction of a percent adds up to meaningful revenue. The Apple Card, developed in partnership with Goldman Sachs, brought Apple into the credit market. Apple's role here is primarily on the experience and branding side, but it earns revenue from the arrangement. Retail and direct sales. Apple operates one of the most profitable retail networks in the world. Its stores generate more revenue per square foot than almost any other retailer consistently. This is not accidental. The store design, the staff training, and the product layout are all engineered to guide customers through an experience rather than just a transaction. Buying directly from Apple also means Apple keeps the full margin, unlike sales made through carriers or third-party retailers who take a cut. The retail network also serves as a service and support hub, and those repair and replacement interactions often lead to additional purchases. Online direct sales through Apple's website follow the same logic, capturing margin that would otherwise be shared.